So I have a video for you today for a cherry on top using some current favorite products. So for today's video, I'm going to be using the Pink Paisley Again and Again collection. I have already chosen 4 patterns that I want to use, and I am super excited about this collection. It's just stunningly beautiful. And so if you've not seen this over in the shop yet, I highly recommend it. I have some alphabet stamps, and we'll get to those as we move through our video. And then I also have these Again and Again stickers. I bought 2, then I ordered a 3rd because I just think they're going to be something that's going to go through, I'm going to go through very quickly and will be in my stash and not needed for a long time. And I have these little enamel shapes. Now, I have lots. I have the whole die cut pack for Again and Again. But I'm going to be working with an 8.5 by 11 page. So here's what I'm thinking. I love these colors, but this flower is like almost the size of my picture. So I'm not real into the scale of that. That's okay. I'm going to fix that with some products from Pinkfresh Studios. So I have, this is the Just a Little Lovely stamp set. It has this gorgeous floral, which is scaled down a little bit, and while it is still bigger than my photo, if you kind of see how it will set the photo off without looking gigantic. At least I think it will. And then I'm using these. Okay, so these are the Essentials Classic Edgers dies. If you have a die cut machine and scrapbook, you need these in your life now. I'm obsessed with them. They're so perfect and beautiful and just gorgeous. So here's my plan. I'm going to grab some white cardstock. I'm going to, before I come back to you, I'm going to stamp my flower with some Distress Oxide Ground Espresso ink. I'm going to do 2 of them, and then I'm going to do a fun coloring technique, and I'll do that on camera. And I'm going to try to make this flower in the same colors as these. This is why I pulled these die cuts, so I could have an idea of what colors I was going with for this one. I'm also going to cut some paper strips from these 4 patterns, and I'm going to die cut them with my edger die. And then I'll meet you back here and we'll put these products together. I just felt like recording the part where I stamp with my Misty or cut with my Sizzix. That's kind of tedious, and so I'm just going to come back and show you the coloring and how I'm going to pull this layout together. Okay. Hello everyone. Okay, so I'm showing you here what one of these flowers look like. It has a little bit of a sparkle to it. I'm not sure if it's going to show up on camera or not. So I have another one here, and I want to show you how I colored these because I colored them a bit differently. So I stamped this floral image out with some Ground Espresso Distress Oxide inks, and I'm just going to tape my paper down here so that it doesn't move and I go off camera. So I am using some Gina K Ultra Heavy cardstock. It's called Premium Cardstock. It's 120 pounds, 324 GSM, and it's really heavy cardstock, which means it will take lots of ink, which is what we needed to do. So I'm just going to go in with my life-changing brushes, and I'm going to smudge ink into different areas. Now, knowing that I use Distress ink to stamp, these are going to become a little, this one that I'm doing on camera turned out a little more muted and a little muddier than I really wanted, but the first one I did turned out perfect. So leave lots of white space. And you're just going in with little bits of color. You're not adding a ton of color, and you're not blending a ton. You're just blending a little bit because remember, the Ground Espresso will react. You can even use your finger like I did here to get just some of the color into some of the areas. Watch your highlights. You don't want to completely color the image in. You want to get some nice white areas too. Now, like I said, the first one I did, I had a lot more white areas, and this one I filled in a little bit too much. But in the end, they both turned out pretty. I do like the first one. I did a little bit better though. You can go outside the edges. Don't worry about that. Just smudge your color in and go for it, because what you're doing is we're going to die cut these images, so you're going to get the shape of it anyway. But it looks just cool. It was really kind of a different thing to try and to figure out. I did one off camera to make sure that I liked it. And then I'm just going to come in with these colors. I love to kind of use my fingers. I don't know why, but it just seemed to work just a little bit better. So I'm going to go in with all of these different colors that match the Again and Again collection, and color in this image. And then we're going to end up with 2 floral clusters that we can use as we put our page together. Another really great idea that I wish I had done is, because I was using this cardstock that can take water and such, I wish that I had put water droplets on this, because I think it would have turned out really cool, a little more abstract and just really cool. So if I do this again, which I probably will, I will definitely be hitting it with the water. I just didn't even think of it. I don't know. I was in my own little world at this time. And so I was just coloring away, and I wasn't really thinking about the idea of hitting it with some water. But I think hitting it with water would have been an excellent idea. And if I do it again, we will be doing that. So I'm just going to grab the coordinating dies. So this is the stamp set from Just a Little Lovely from Pinkfish Studio. And I just love the stamp set. It has beautiful sentiments too if you're a card maker. Really, really fun sentiments. So I'm going to go ahead and just die cut this flower out, and then we will continue working on our layout. Here are all of those pieces of paper that I cut with the edge dies. So just so you know, these papers are between 1.5 and 2.5 inches long. I'm just cutting some two mats for my photo right now. But those ones that I edge dyed, they're different lengths. They're all 2 inches wide, and then the lengths are between 1.5 or 2.5 tall. They don't need to be very, very long, because we're going to layer them up. So I'm adding some Nouveau drops to my little flowers. I thought they would add just a little something to them. These Nouveau drops are Dusty Rose, and they're the vintage drops, if you're interested in those. I'm just fiddling with my bottle now, and then I'm going to come back to my papers. So I cut a mat for my photo. I have two mats, so one's a little smaller and one's a little bigger, to pull in some of that Dusty Rose and the Navy Blue. And those are the 2 colors we're going to focus on that are in the collection that we're going to use for our layout today. So what I'm doing here is I am taking those strips that I die cut the edges on, and I'm going to alternate them. I did two different edges. There's 2 scalloped edges. I did both the scalloped edges. And then I also made myself 2 patterns, 2 lengths of each pattern. And then I'm just going to stagger these. They're all going to be at different lengths. They're going to come down different areas of the paper. They're going to overlap. And I just wanted there to be this beautiful kind of border at the top. You can also see there at the bottom, I grounded my layout with one of the branding strips in one of the patterns that I used for the top. And I've also drawn some lines. You can see the little guidelines behind my photo, and that's because we are going to create a large kind of title for this layout. This layout is going to have a large, some stamped and some letters. So here you can see how I'm pushing some of those edges up with some foam dots, and look how beautiful that technique is. Those edger dies are just, if you have a Sizzix and you are a scrapbooker, these edger dies are seriously like a craft essential, because there's so much you can do with them. They're so pretty and they're lovely. You'll be seeing me use these edging dies a lot coming in the coming months because they're gorgeous. So I have this nice thin alphabet that I'm going to use. I am using the ground espresso as for my stamping, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate stamped words with words using those puffy thickers. For my journaling / title, I am using a quote from one of my top 5 Disney movies, which is Meet the Robinsons. I should have a top 5 Disney movie, tell you. Okay, so number 1 is Beauty and the Beast. Number 2 is Meet the Robinsons. Number 3 is Alice in Wonderland. Number 4 is Mary Poppins, the original one. I do like the new one, but the original one is the best. And number 5 is, are you ready? Oliver and Company. I'm eclectic. What can I say? Anyway, so Meet the Robinsons is an absolutely stunning movie. If you've never watched it, it's so sweet and I love it. It's so good. Anyway, and so this is a little quote from the song by Rob Thomas that plays at the end, and it's one of my very favorite songs too. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go through and I'm going to primarily stamp my title and then add the puffy words in there. And what I'm doing now is this is a mono sand eraser. These things are miraculous erasers. I'm going to use that eraser to erase my lines as I go down through my title. And you can see here are all of my words. So first up, I did smudge a little bit right there, but we're just going to cover it up with some of these little star things. The other thing, and I know there shouldn't be an S at the end of remains at the bottoms, but guess what? I just left it there. I know it's a mistake. I know it's there, but you know what? I wasn't going to restamp the entire thing, and I wasn't sure that I could cohesively cover the S, so I just left it. We're just going to go with it. I am going to add these little star elements from the Enamel Shapes Pack, and actually I end up using all of those star elements because I add them in different areas of the layout. So now I want to create a cluster in the bottom right, because you see those strips of paper come down pretty far, so I want to create something at the bottom right that's going to kind of balance out and create more of a center area in that bottom, so that my picture looks more centered. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with that sticker sheet, and now I'm going to pull into these colored stamped images. So because these floral images are going to be at the bottom of my layers, they end up really grounding my page. I think they look beautiful. I think they're just the right scale. I wanted some florals on this page, but I wanted these more smaller bunches, not so much the large big florals. I just wanted it to be a little more subtle. I didn't want in your face flowers, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use 2 of them. I'm going to use both of them. One's going to go at the bottom. The other one you saw there I put on either side of the main image in my layout. And I only needed 2 because I cut the excess off on one side and then I just put it down on the other. I didn't use this one, the excess of this one. This is the one I didn't like as much. That wasn't as light colored and kind of got just a touch muddy. But that's okay because one of them was going to get covered up more than the other one. So the one that's muddier got covered up. I'm going to use this little tag and I'm going to pop it right up there so that it almost touches some of my journaling. And again, that's just to make it, if you look at the top, you have that one banner or one little bit there that's kind of down lower than the others and kind of almost touches what is my journaling or my title, and so I wanted to do that with the top too. I wanted to make sure there was an area at the bottom that came up almost to that stamped piece. So I'm kind of choosing my elements here, the things I want to use to to add icons, I guess would be the word. I'm going to choose these little circles. There's lots of these little circles on the sticker sheet. I'm going to use this whole page of enamel stars, and I'm just going to kind of cluster them together so that they create kind of like a line of embellishments that your eye can follow as you read down through that stamped piece. And then I'm also going to add some little clusters over the colored pieces that I did on the sides. I added a small floral cluster down near the bottom left of my photo, and then I'm just going to add some more of these little enamel shapes. As always, you can find all the links to all the products from A Cherry on Top that they have in stock below in the description box. And yeah, I really, really like this collection. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'm super glad that I did order another pack of those letter stickers, because I used all the L's and all the S's off of one of my packs of letters and had to dig into the second pack. So super happy I bought another set. So I have more to play with, because I think that they're beautiful, and they will be very, very versatile in your scrapbooking collection. So here are all of the close-ups. You can see those little vintage Nuvo drops and the stamping and all of the fun details. I just love the way that top turned out, that top piece. So pretty. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.